We are in the Chianti Classico area, Tignanello, in our estate, where we produce probably one of the most, or if not the most important wine for Antinori, which is Tignanello, together with Solaia. But of course, we are in the Chianti Classico area, and we have our roots in Chianti Classico, and here we produce a couple of, let's say, Chianti Classico single vineyard. One is called Badia Passignano, and another one is called Marchesi Antinori. Of course, in this area we have particular, let's say, conditions. Chianti Classico in particular, but Sangiovese in general, makes wines that are really, really unique in terms of style. We are 450 meters above the sea level, very, let's say, shell of soil, very rocky, plenty of galestro and alberese, very weak vines, and the result is a wine which is intense, which is, let's say, vibrant, where really Sangiovese shows all the characteristics which are typical of Sangiovese. I think Chianti Classico as an area is quite a big area. I mean, we are talking about a production which is quite high. We are talking about, surface, which is 6,000 hectares. That means 15,000 acres. So, I mean, it's a big, let's say, production. It's quite a large production. And, of course, being in this area, very hilly, we have different conditions, soil conditions, but also, climatic conditions. So it could be an opportunity and an option to have a better, let's say, differentiation between the areas. We have already, in a certain sense, we know that Tignanello is where it is. We know that Castello di Am is where it is. We know Broglio. We know already inside the area. But of course, for consumers outside Italy or outside Europe, it's much more complicated to understand where each single wine is produced. So probably we have this possibility of better differentiate the single, let's say, area and have within the Chianti Classico appellation maybe the sub-appellation or sub-area, let's say Chianti Classico from Badia Passignano, Chianti Classico from Panzano, Chianti Classico from Greve, from Castellina, from Castelnuovo Berardenga. I think Chianti Classico has a great value in the world. I mean, we cannot forget, a couple of centuries of history. I think it's a mistake. There are not so many wines that have the history of Chianti Classico. Why we have to abandon the history? There is really a big mistake. Of course, there is history, in a certain sense, is not our destiny. But we have to learn from our history. We have to, let's say, consider that the history of Chianti Classico is a great asset. There is no reason not to use it. Discussing about the appellation, we have also to consider, consumers, what the consumers understand about the appellation. And I think to abandon, in a certain sense, the Chianti Classico as an appellation is a mistake, because we need, if you don't call a wine Chianti Classico, you call the wine with the appellation, let's say, Tavernelle, or let's say San Casciano, or let's say Panzano. Nobody knows where Tavernelle is, where Panzano is. There is nothing to invent. It is already invented. That is clear. Bordeaux is a clear, Bourgogne is the same. You have the single village, but you have, the appellation, which is Burgundy.
Well, first of all, I'm Duccio Corsini, and we are now in the north part of Chianti Classico, San Casciano village, next to Florence, so well north. We are just 25 minutes away from the Dome, the center of the city of Florence. And the property we are in today is Le Corti, Villa Le Corti, that belongs to my family since 1427. Of course, we are in Chianti Classico area, so we produce Chianti Classico with my family since 1427. So the property was bought in 1427, and the way we see it today, the villa, the winery, underground as it is today. It was built in 1603. Chianti Classico, it's probably the oldest denomination in Italy. It's the wine made in the Chianti region. Chianti region was famous before Chianti Classico wines. Then I think just after either between two wars or after the war or Second World War, Italian legislation decided that Chianti was a famous brand for wine and decided to make most wines in Tuscany Chianti. So we have Chianti produced in the Arezzo area as well as Pisa, and from there on it is Chianti Classico. Today the Corti produces basically 4 wines. They are all apart one in the Chianti Classico denomination. One is I like to call it my daily wine, is Le Corti Chianti Classico. It's a Sangiovese wine, not aged in wood. So my goal to show how this terroir, this climate, delivers its character through grapes into wine with no curtains. Technology is very traditional, and the aging is done in concrete vats. And the yeast we use are our own selected yeast. So this is my way of trying to transfer this unicity, this experience from the Corti to the wine and possibly to whoever tastes the wine around the world. Don Tommaso, it's since 1994, it's our forward wine. It's our super Chianti Classico in ways. Has never been a Riserva. Has been only Sangiovese until 1997, until I understood that the real tradition overall in Chianti region is to make a wine made of a blend. So Sangiovese with something, Sangiovese with something else. When in the past it was Sangiovese and maybe over 30% of white grapes. Today the rule says that Chianti Classico can only be made of red grapes, and today can also be made of only Sangiovese.